Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Allie.
And we're painting a Shas'ui Fire Warrior today.
That's a lot of parts.
So we've clipped out all the parts. We're going to try to take down all of the mold lines just using a hobby knife. For my particular model, I'm just going to be using the 2-piece leg set, and there's really not too much difference in the pieces between a regular Fire Warrior and a Shas'ui version, but that piece there on the backpack is one of them. I also decided to put the pulse pistol on the side, as well as this combat knife. Next, I'm going to prime the model in Corax White and then take down some of these imperfections. The helmet had a bit of a divot in it, so I sanded it down and filled it in with some matte varnish. You might take a few layers, sanding in between, and you'll eventually get a smooth surface. Same thing on the arm here, just had a bit of a rough start to the prime. The legs are painted black, and just avoid the white armor sections.
Now Jason is using the Citadel painting handle, but if you don't have one of those, you can go ahead and just use a regular craft glue stick. You pop the lid off that glue stick and stick your figurine on there, and that will hold it in place and give you a handle to do your detail painting with.
Worth noting is that when I constructed the model and primed it, I just put the left arm on with a bit of poster tack so that I can paint around and get some of the details in the area. Next up, we'll be painting the white armor. We're using Ulthuan Grey from Citadel, and it's very important to keep the paint very, very thin here. It should take you 2 or 3 layers. I painted most of the model in this white color, including the knife, the pistol, and the pulse rifle. Next, I'm going to be painting the red bits. We're going to start with a base of Mephiston Red. Just like the white armor, it's very important to get a very thin coat on this part. Now for some detail on the white armor, I'm going to use some gray paint to put in some of these stripes. Shouldn't matter which ones you choose, just pick a panel. Just like the other armor sections, you want to have real thin paint so to not have any bumps and ridges. The Tau emblem on the shoulder, I use Vallejo German Grey. I'm using Army Painter Greedy Gold for the gold bit on the pulse rifle. Now for the fun part, I'm using this panel line accent color for the first time on this model.
I think it does a really nice job, well worth the money, but it does smell.
It flows very nicely, but works much better on the deeper recesses. Cleans up easily with a little bit of mineral spirits on a Q-tip, but watch the long lines or you end up pulling the panel line right out of the recesses. I'm also panel lining around the helmet visor here, just by hitting it where the corners meet. Helmet was kind of tough, it flowed kind of everywhere, but giving it a bit of time and it cleans up nicely with Q-tip. Same with the leg panels, the recesses aren't deep enough to get a very good panel line. The problem being that any cleanup and you pull the panel line out of the recess. For the edge highlight, I'm using Evil Sunz Scarlet. As my highlight gets lighter with the flat yellow I'm adding, I just can make a smaller and smaller edge highlight. I'm working my way around the model and highlighting the other red portions.
I like that. What is that? A tassel?
Again, our brightest highlights here. It's best to go with yellow, otherwise you err toward pink if you highlight with white. I've been adding Vallejo Flat Yellow to the paint in order to get a brighter highlight, but you can also use Fire Dragon Bright from Citadel. If you're brave, you'll end up with just a tiny dot of that flat yellow on the far corners. With real thin paint, you'll end your stroke in the place where you want the highest value of highlight. As we highlight these gray portions, just add a little bit more white into the paint to get the highlights. If your edge highlight hits more than the edge, just use your finger and smooth it right off. All over the model, there's all kinds of these little blue button things and lenses, and I'm using Army Painter Electric Blue to fill those in.
Now that we're done with those details, we're going to go ahead and attach that arm.
I'm highlighting the black pants with some ash gray. Now this brush is made for dry brushing, but you can also use a makeup brush.
If you ask your wife first. And she should not use it on her face afterwards.
If you're messy enough, you can trick people into thinking it's weathering. Finally, I'll be edge highlighting with a pure white on the white armor panels. Some of the upward facing panels and the pulse rifle here, I paint the entire top surface in dead mirror white. I paint the Xena's foot and the fang with a highlight of rust gray.
I really like that pop of blue on the alien's feet.
Now I'm going to take the figure off the base and make a new one.
You're going to want to do this step a little more carefully than Jason does.
This is Allie's favorite part.
This is a little upcycle here. That's just a leftover piece of the sprue that's been detached and formed into a post-like shape.
I drop a little bit of debris and some of this white snow effect, push in a bush, position everything around while it's still wet. I decided that my post was brown, so I give it some brown wood highlights. Finish off the scenery, I use more of the pale line color to put some shadows in and always paint the brim. Glue the figure down and we're all done. Since he's the Shas'ui, he gets to have a little bit more time painted on him rather than the regular troops, which you might spend a little less time on. He was fun to paint. Thanks for watching.
That's it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe.